I'll tell it to go and research, and it'll just straight up lie to me. I'm not here to be a developer. I'm here to ask ChatGPT to do something for me and spit it back. And it's just not doing it. How cool would it be if I had my AI employee texting me via iMessage and operating just like a human would? Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the More Than Meets the Eye podcast, where we talk about what's behind a person, a practice, or a product, especially when it comes to marketing. I'm Jared Taylor, and I've got my coffee, and I'm welcoming you to JT Visuals. And that's spelled without the I because there's more than meets the eye. If you're out there and people are telling you need to be using AI because you're going to get left behind, and so then you finally decided, okay, I'm going to learn ChatGPT, and then you start learning it, and then now everyone's telling you, whoa, you're still on ChatGPT? That's like being on MySpace. It's going to go away because they keep lying to you. If you're experiencing that, ChatGPT is just over-affirming every input you do or producing a novel every single time, and you just want a quick answer. But then it has to be so PR-friendly because they've got so big that now there's a lot of regulations and then all the attention's on them, and then maybe they just, I don't know what's going on. And actually, by the time this releases, it's possible they completely released a new thing that blows all of their old mistakes out of the water, and then they become an S-tier ranked AI again. That's how fast things are moving. But right now, there is a lot of questions, and I myself went through this, where what is Claude? And then, is Gemini good? Should I be using that? Or what are the things that I should be using AI for that I'm not? I woke up one day and just kind of went, man, I know nothing of AI. And I'm the one that goes around and talks about how to use AI to implement into your business so that you can scale your time and scale your revenue. And then here I am waking up one day and been using ChatGPT for the last several months. And then all of a sudden it's like just affirming every single thing I do, and I'd ask an idea, and then even I'll tell it to go and research, and it'll just straight up lie to me. Hey, is this compatible with this? Yes, it is. Theoretically, blah, 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 blah. Or maybe it doesn't even say theoretically, but you could be going through a whole troubleshooting campaign with ChatGPT, and we trust it because in the past we had good results, but we forget to challenge it again because we just think it earned our trust already. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but Joe, you got something on your chest.
When I failed my first aid business, I chalked it up to a couple of things. Number one, I was very proud and I didn't learn how to build a business. But the second thing I realized is I didn't go to school for this.
And it's fun to try to figure things out and explore. But then there comes a point where you're like, wait, hold on. What are all the other successful business owners doing?
We've provided something for you if you feel the same exact way. We've provided Skool, S-K-O-O-L, entrepreneur experience, where you can actually have free content and a community of people that are also in there that are entrepreneurs that love to give feedback and ask for feedback. If you don't feel like you have the resources enough to help you become successful, join our Skool.
It starts for free. So what are you waiting for? Go to jtvisuals.com/school. That's JTVisuals without the I, and that's school with a K.
Now back to the show.
So therefore, nothing's ever going to be wrong again. Until you go, well, go and read the official document of this product and see if it's compatible with this one. And then it comes back and goes, no, it's not compatible. And then you're like, what the heck? So then we blame it on the prompts, and it's like, sure, you can get away with a better prompt and then not have that kind of message, but it's not all just about the prompt. I experienced this because I wanted ChatGPT to produce 250 Google Business Profile updates for me in a CSV format that's very particular. And then it goes, all right, write on it. And then it generates, and then it sends it, and at least it's telling me, it says, hey, I could only do 75 of this or something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but it was well below the amount that I wanted. I wanted 250. I was getting close to 75. And then it's telling me, here's a Python script that you can run. And it's like, I'm not here to be a developer. I'm here to ask ChatGPT to do something for me and spit it back. And it's just not doing it. It's true that this could be changing by the time even this video releases. So really, I just want to know your perspective. Are you experiencing things like this, and are you on ChatGPT? And then do you experience it if you go to Claude, or do you experience it on Gemini much? So instead of becoming more of a developer than I should, I took that same prompt, put it in the free version of Claude, and it did it the first time. No joke. So that was my first thing that I learned, was the difference between ChatGPT and Claude is that while they're both technically large language models, the outputs can be larger on Claude. It can do things better without degrading the quality. So I know there's a lot of people out there and they're like, jump and ship from ChatGPT over to Claude specifically, but this could technically apply to anything. However, I want to talk specifically to those who are on Claude and share what you like most about it, and then those that are on ChatGPT who are experiencing the same frustrations. But if you're also getting good results from ChatGPT, then I do want to know that too. I want to stay open about this. I don't want to just jump ship and then be super loyal to one thing just because I really had a good experience with it. Could be completely different for someone else. And we only know if we bring that data to the table. So I'm going to speak from what I know and from my experience. And what I know as the main difference is that ChatGPT is there to chat with, and then it spits back some text that you can copy and paste and put somewhere else. It does have connectors. I did test the connector feature, but did you know that the voice feature on ChatGPT is technically a different model than the one that you text? I started thinking I really like ChatGPT because I could have a conversation with it on the way home by being hands-free and safe and driving. It's just like talking on the phone. I put it on the little dock. But every time I would say, go and look up this email, I need help responding to so-and-so, it couldn't find it. And then it would be like, it's not connected to Google. And I'm like, yeah, you are. I just connected you. And it's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, why am I arguing with the AI? And then I realized the voice feature is a different model than the chat feature. So if I put something in the thread first, like go text it in the chat thread and say, bring up that email, then voice can kind of go back and see the thread. And then I did that another time and it couldn't go back and see what was on the previous thread. And I'm on the paid version too. So when that happened, now I had to gaslight the voice feature of ChatGPT into knowing it had more information in this thread than it was saying it had. And so then you're babysitting it just a little too much. And it's like, this should just work. Like, what's going on here? Is it like a really watered down version? There's too much compounding of code that's like messed it up. And it was supposed to stay simple as a framework in the beginning. I don't know what's going on. But that's what I experienced, and I was just kind of done with it. So I moved to Claude with that free version, and then I'm seeing Dan Martell like rank all these AIs, and I'm like, Manus, there's something to Manus. So I was thinking of trying Manus, and I went all in with it for like 7 days. But Manus, from my experience, was really good, and I got good results. What was difficult with it is it's all completely cloud-based, and therefore the usage credits in the credit system, you have no idea what it's worth. Like, I'm paying $20, there's 2,000 credits. This task used 300 credits just for that one chat thread. And then it's like, what? How much did that cost me? Like, and you have to do all the math, and it gets very confusing. And then you go and tell it to do something slightly different, and it enters into this deep research mode and you had no idea because it auto-selected it versus like you selecting it. And there are ways around that, but I went and told it to go and research, since it's connected to Instagram and Facebook, to go and help build an Instagram coach to help with results, and go and scan some YouTube training videos that I found and like build a skill based on that to help train the AI for like how I can better myself on Instagram. Well, when it did that, it cost me like 2,000 credits, and it stopped in the middle of doing that because I already spent my $20. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe this is worth it though. So I spent more and got more credits. And then it ran out right away again. And then I did it again. And then I'm like, wait, I'm seeing the pattern here. This is almost like $20 a day. So I got to slow down. Is this just because I'm developing a bunch of skills? And it just really didn't work out for me. So if money's not an issue for you, then go ahead and use the deep research of Manus, and it will connect a lot better. But for me and the budgets and where I am, by the time I would get to a result, I wanted for Manus to be an AI agent that is like an employee. It was better at that point as far as cost. Actually, it was more than what it would take to just hire someone and train them. So I was like, Manus just went out of the picture for me. You have to do completely different use case for that. So it's really the cost effectiveness. And I even downloaded the app and it's like 50% less usage, but I think their usage was just 10x than what Claude is, at least from my experience. What was cool with Manus is, if you understand this lingo real quick, it can convert API into MCP pretty easy and use any program that doesn't have MCP servers, but then it can actually talk to it via API, and that was cool. And so literally Manus integrated into every platform that I had, so everything could talk to each other as long as there were API calls, puts and gets for that. So I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Claude has this iMessage feature that I'm seeing. How cool would it be if I had my AI employee texting me via iMessage? I don't know, there's something about the blue bubbles, and it just comes through and looking and treated and operating just like a human would. So I'm getting closer to that. And when I installed it, I learned that Claude is very similar to Clawbot. I know that's very confusing, but stick with me, because it's at system level and not necessarily always in the cloud. So Claude has actually 3 features. It's chat, and then they have Cowork, and then they have Claude Code. So chat is basically the cloud-based thing that you can go to that's very similar to ChatGPT, but you could get larger outputs if you need that. And I've heard a lot of good experience from writers who need some like help with editing and stuff, that they get better results on Claude naturally. So that could be a use case in the chat feature. But then there's Cowork, and if you have a desktop or dedicated device that you can keep on always, then it can operate your Google Chrome browser. And that's what's really cool. So then if something's incompatible via MCP, or they don't even have that at all, or they're not a connector that's available on Claude, then it can actually access Google Chrome, and anything someone can do on Google Chrome, it can do. So that actually became a main difference. And also, that helps with extra security in the sense that not everything's all out in the cloud. All of my recent messages and stuff are at system level. It's at the computer level. And the documents and everything stores on the computer, not in the cloud. So this actually opens up other opportunities for it. I did try, they have a new feature where instead of just Google Chrome that it operates, it can operate anything on your computer. It's called computer use. This literally takes over your whole computer. So theoretically, through this, it can use DaVinci Resolve and edit a video, but I don't know if it can do it fast enough or long enough or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that's worth it, at least right now, because when it does that, it's taking up the most usage possible during that. So it's not the most efficient way. However, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel of where Claude is going. And really now you are just limited, not by tech, not by what you can afford, but based on your own creativity for your use cases. If you have bottlenecks in your business and it's a repeated task, you can have Claude set up scheduled tasks to go and do something for you. And then the next feature I learned with that blew my mind, because you can put it under something called projects. So when you make a project in Claude, that's like focus only in this frame, but then have a scheduled task, and then it goes in by tasks. So ChatGPT operates based on threads. It's chat history. Sometimes you could keep the same thread. And while you can do that in Claude, Claude is more focused on tasks being your thread. Everything is tracked by, did it accomplish the task that you wanted it to do? And that's what makes Claude more of a doer than how ChatGPT is just an information researcher, and it gathers information and then gives it to you. And even the research isn't like the best. But in Claude, when you have something in projects, you can say, hey, this you are my ex-assistant. And I'm not talking about Twitter, but although you probably could do that maybe. There's always a way. But if you need help with a certain thing, like maybe social media comments, let's specific on that. I would make that a project. So then you can train the project and be like, here's the SOP for that. Here's the brand lingo. Here's the brand language. And then here's the skills you'll need for that. And you may need these connectors. And the connectors are like, it can connect to Gmail, Google Calendar, really all the Google stuff, almost. And then any local level stuff that you have, if you have Claude Cowork on the system level, you can get it to integrate to any MCP. So it can integrate to go high level when you do Claude Cowork. And that's very simple to set up. So then when you do that, it can become more of an assistant, but not something that just reports stuff to you, but something that does something for you. So if you want it to go and manage comments, one of the ones that I have connected is Metricool. So it can go in there and it can check the inbox feature, and then it gets all of the unresolved comments across all the social media channels that I have, and it can suggest what to write in order to make sure and comment back. This is nice because if you get a lot of comments all at once, it can be overwhelming, but you're going to want to train that assistant. So that assistant needs SOPs, it needs your brand values, it needs your lingo, and you could start a whole other thing. Or within this project, the instructions could be develop and learn as we go and update the SOP as we go and we learn this so that you can understand completely how to do this. And so then, dude, you're treating it just like an employee for that task. So if there's a social media comment manager out there, then that would be Claude can replace that. So then you could set it up and really you just chat to it. You just chat to it. You can train it more on the skill of it, and you can set it up to be like, when there's a comment like this, send me a text so I can verify it. And then when you respond to the text, that triggers another task to go and complete it and gives the context of the other one. So you can do a lot with it, and it's kind of cool. We have one growing up. I always played N64, and there was the 007 games, which, unpopular belief, I like World Is Not Enough better than GoldenEye. But GoldenEye did bring a lot of us to the multiplayer game. But I like The World Is Not Enough and played that a lot because you could put in AI bots. But growing up, when we would toggle that feature, I didn't even know what that meant, and it was OWL bots. And so now, as paying homage back to that story, is I made an AI user called Al, and then just to not confuse too much, is it needs a last name now. So Al, and then I just made Bert the last name. So now I can know that lowercase L or capital I, what is that? So anyways, that's a fun little story. But if you have a dedicated device, just like a Mac Studio or Mac Mini, which Mac Mini is like $600 for a decent one, and you could have an AI in Claude just live off of this, and that way it won't get into your personal stuff if you give it computer use, and you can only put on there what you want Claude to have access to. But you could say like, hey, use the Messages app inside the Mac Mini, and then that could be a way to do iMessage, and then it can go back to the team and everything. And there's so many use cases for this. And then actually like something people forget about a lot are like Apple shortcuts. And so you can actually start getting Apple shortcuts to work. And I actually got like a trigger inside Apple shortcuts to be like when someone texts me and it says hashtag auto post, then do this. So I could probably set it up where if someone texts me this, like let's say someone texts me 3 videos and they were supposed to email me. This happens all the time. But I could train them to be like, hey, just put hashtag auto post if you're going to send that to me. And I could train it to be like, when there's hashtag auto post, to then download the videos and put the videos in this folder and then make a done task, which is our task management software, to notify the team that there's a new auto post video ready to be edited. So from the client experience, it's a cool little product, which, by the way, it's a wait list right now. So if you want early access, you can save and get on the wait list. Just text or email info@jtvisual.com if you want in on this. But from the client experiences, all they do is they film a video with the selfie mode because that still works. And then the second thing they do is send it. Film it, send it. We do the rest. That's it. Once we have you established on posting that, like imagine just you film a video and then you send it through a text, and then there's a team that just magically knows and understands your brand and puts it on social media for you, schedules it, edits it, or whatever touch-ups it needs. And so there are obviously things that AI can help me with to make and speed this up faster. So since this is a podcast, I didn't show you very much about this, but I would love to have you join our school community. The link is in the description. And through a comment on this video or a comment in the school community, which is free to join the community, and then if you want to dive deeper, then you can get courses. I have skills that I'm training AI on for very specific use cases. And when you buy the course, you get a tutorial on how to use it, and you can download the skill or the custom GPT to whatever platform that you're using so that you can get better results. Generic AI is out. It's just out of the picture from now on. Like even Gemini's pretty decent, but if you just generic chat it without giving parameters or it previously knowing about you and learning about you in your business or where you work, then it's not going to give you very good results. ChatGPT can still give some decent results too if you have custom trained ChatGPTs. So I've trained some and then converted it all. There's a Mana skill, there's a Claude skill, and there's ChatGPT custom link, and there's a Gemini link or a Gemini gem for you to use so you don't have to learn something from a course and then go and do something. You learn something from a course and you get the plug and play version where you can pop that in to your system that you use for AI. And then depending on what course it is, that's what skill it is. So in the comments of this video, in the comments of our school community, you get to stay in the know, but I would also want to know your side of things and what you would be looking for. And if you had one thing that's like, man, if AI could do this, that would totally save my time. And I think that could scale to other businesses being helped through this too, then that would be beneficial for us. And I'd love to collaborate. And really what I'll do is if you're in the school community and you put it in there, if you came up with the idea and I can track that back to you, I'll give you that course complimentary for providing the idea, so long as we choose to actually use it. So I want to know, what are you more curious about? What do you need help with? Was this video helpful at all with navigating the AI jungle? I would love to make more videos like this if that's going to be of value to you and level up your content game and business game. I'm Jared Taylor, and I want you to keep on keeping on.